This video is to introduce the Riverhawk HRT style stud tensioning system and its basic functions. To go over the installation, you're going to need your paperwork, which includes the hardware drawing, the HRT drawing, which is the tool itself, and the installation manual. The hardware drawing will give you the most important part of the setup, which is the stud stick out, which is the distance from the face of the stud to the face of the nut. That is critical for the installation of the tooling onto the stud for proper tensioning. That is done by using the print, taking a set of calipers or drop gauge, setting it to the dimension on the print, and then setting it on your face and adjusting the nut so it comes in contact with the stud. Once that's done, you slide that back and you tighten up the backside nut. All your tensioning is off the face where the conical thread is, and that's the important side. The back side is just for taking up the extra length. Once that's set, you take your spanner ring, mount it to the nut, and your puller screw, which is a hand tightened puller screw, place that in the conical thread, tighten that, hand tight, use an Allen wrench on either side and tighten it to make sure it's seated properly. Once it's tight, loosen it back up a half a turn and then tighten it only by hand. That does not require tightening with the wrench once it's seated. Once that's set, you take your foot, slide it over the puller screw, so it hits the flange. The foot will occasionally have two pins that locate the foot in relation to the flange. Those pins should set over top of the flange and not interfere with the pressure surface of the face of the foot. Once that's set, take your tensioner, locate it on the puller screw, and you hand tighten that up. When that's hand tight, there should be an 1/8 of an inch to 3/16 of an inch gap there. Your foot should be able to float freely on there. Then you take the interlocking guard, set it on there. There's two guides on the top here that locate on the surface of the cylinder. Drop that down, pull it back. There's a locating pin on the back side of the nut that goes into the hex hole on the back side. Once that's set, you tighten up your interlock, which is just done by turning the knurled end. Tighten that up until it comes in contact here with the cylinder. Now this unit is clamped onto the flange and ready for tensioning. You take the hydraulic connection, put that on there until it connects, clicks in. Now you know that you have a good hydraulic connection between the hose and your pump and the cylinder. Once that's done, you connect your hose and you pump up the unit to half pressure for the first time around. Hold the button down, it'll pump up. Once the unit has stabilized, the pump is no longer adding pressure to the system, then you can go in and tighten up your nut. Remove the pin wrench, let go of your pressure. That will relax the system, taking out allowing this to retract, allowing the cylinder to retract, and loosening the connection. Your nut and stud are now half tensioned. Once that's done, you can disconnect the hydraulic, loosen up the interlock, give it several turns to get it away from your locating pin, and then you can lift the guard off. With the guard off, you can remove the cylinder by unscrewing it, supporting the back side so it doesn't fall. There is a lead-in on the cylinder so it won't fall. It will hang there and still be loose. So as long as you're supporting the back side, you shouldn't drop the cylinder. Remove the cylinder. Remove the foot. The puller screw may be tight in there now that you've tension the stud. So you put your Allen wrench in there. You may have to use a hammer to loosen it up and take the stud out. Remove your puller screw. Now it's tensioned halfway. You need to follow in the back of the instruction manual. There's a guide for the pattern in which the stud should be tensioned. Should be tensioned half pressure and then full pressure. Once that's done, you take your torque wrench and you tighten up the lock nuts. That'll lock the nut anti-rotation mechanism onto the stud. Once that's done, you want to double check your stretch values to make sure you did get the proper stretch into the stud and make sure it's tensioned properly. And you continue on with all the studs in the pattern and checking them, and once that's done, you should be good to go. Thank you.
They got an inspection, and he said the contact was no good after he built out good sheets. Yeah, so we found that. So they said there wasn't enough stock. I was saying, well,